Hey kids, it's PokeDad. Welcome back to another video. Since the very beginning of Pokemon and your first battle against Butthead in red or blue, there have been rivals. But which rival has the best team? Well, we have 32 in our bracket today, 30 from mainline games and a pair of wildcards from the anime, Paul and Sawyer. It's going to be a single elimination bracket, one loss and the trainer is out. But 5 wins will crown a champion. To keep the video at a reasonable length, I'm going to commentate condensed versions of rounds 1 and 2. Then once we hit the quarterfinals, battles from here and beyond will be shown in full and without commentary. Oh, and seeding is randomized for the tournament. Let's see if that throws any curveballs. With all that said, let's start round 1, Gladion and Bianca, Alola versus Unova. For this tournament, Gladion is bringing his Fire Silvally, and Bianca's got her Emboar squad from OG Unova. After a slow start to this battle, Bianca pulled back Gladion's early lead thanks to Emboar. Exchanging KOs, it came down to a one-on-one. Porygon Z versus Stoutland. With a speed and health advantage, Porygon Z won it for Team Angst, Gladion advancing to round 2. Next up, his sister Lily, and she's taking on our first wildcard, Sawyer. Now, why Sawyer and not Alan? Well, Alan's anime arc relied so heavily on Mega Evolution that it just didn't feel right bringing him, either with or without Mega Charizard X. And to be honest, Sawyer fits the bill of a rival just fine. In the longest battle of round 1, Lily showed the strength of fairy types, pushing Sawyer to the end. But with Aegislash up his sleeve, Sawyer did just enough to reach round 2. Third battle, Avery. Remember him? He has an ominous round 1 matchup against Blue. Without a doubt, one of the tournament's favorites. In fact, before the tournament, I made a betting chart and had Blue very high on the list. Can Avery defy the odds? No. Dragon Dance Tyranitar KO'd 4, and then Dragon Dance Gyarados KO'd the final 2. Back to the dojo for Avery. Blue carries on to round 2, where he will face the winner of Silver and Trevor. Our Johto rival, my first rival, who I named in my original copy of Gold, Carmen, after this crazy chick in my 2nd grade class. Yep, 7-year-old me thought that Silver was a lady. Anyway, Silver has his Feraligatr team for this tournament, and he immediately sends it out, wreaking absolute havoc. Raichu couldn't take down the Gatorade, and Silver never let go of the lead. A bit unfortunate for Trevor that he Terra'd Fairy against poison types near the end, but for this tournament, all Pokemon use their primary type as their Terra unless specified in-game. Silver will carry on to face Blue. Possibly my favorite rival, Hugh from the Unova sequels. I just love that story arc. Today, Hugh brings his Samurott team to face Hau and his Decidueye squad. This battle was blow for blow until Hugh made a mistake. He switched out Unpheasant for the save, correctly predicting a Thunderbolt into Simisage. But Alolan Raichu easily won the next turn on speed, finishing the monkey with Psychic. From there, the battle was done. Bye Hugh, miss you. Hau moves forward. Arven versus Tierno sounds like an easy win for the sandwich artist, right? Wrong. Tierno led most of the way and brought Arven to the brink of defeat. Mabosstiff came out as Arven's final Pokemon. Lucky we revived it, eh, Arby boy? But Swift Swim Ludicolo won speed. Unfortunately, Hydro Miss. Ludicolo goes down, and Raichu can't finish off the sad Mustachio. Arven gets the final KO, Mabosstiff dies to Life Orb, but Raichu fell first. Arven will survive. The best girls unite. It's Serena versus May. Neither have performed well in my tournament so far, neither even have a single win. The battle was close, both rivals switching to outposition the other, but Serena did it better. The wannabe Carlos Queen takes down Hoenn's coordination sensation. And just for the record, Amor all the way, grew up with May and Misty myself, but he's Serena's guy, fight me. One of the tournament's favorites is up next, Natural Harmonia Gropius. What a name! How about I just call you N? He's taking on Marnie's dark types, but it was N's own dark Pokemon that racked up some damage. A sneaky play from N, Zoroark, disguised as Caracosta, was brought in to face Morpeko. Without a speed boost, Morpeko fell. Archeops and Vanillix then combined to bring Marnie down. Another fan favourite falls, but N will carry on. Another Brit, Galar represent. Hop joins the rumble as we hit the bottom half of the draw. Unlucky for him, he's facing down Wally, whose team is jacked. Now to give him some credit, Hop fought valiantly. He never fell too far behind, but he was cornered every way he turned. Wally just had all the firepower. Gallade, Talonflame and Garchomp pulling out all stops. Hop falls, Wally carries on, looking to cause carnage yet again. Could one of our next pair take Wally down? We have Carmine and Barry. Now, this battle surprised me. Not so much because Barry got ahead early, but more how dominant he appeared. With 5 Pokemon left for Barry against only Carmine's Mightyena and Morpeko, Barry looked unstoppable. Down went Snorlax, 4-2, but then Morpeko fell, 4-1, and Roserade paralysed Mightyena. But Carmine had worn Barry's team down, and over the last 5 turns of the battle, Mightyena hit 4 Sucker Punches for 4 KOs. Somehow, Carmine won. Insane. And now, can her brother join her in round 2? Kieran meets another Sinnohian? Sinnozian? Screw it. Sinnoh resident. It's Lucas. Both trainers have really good squads, but Kieran was a step ahead early on. Down 4 Pokemon to 2, Lucas flipped the switch. Dusknoir hit a Trick Room and was able to level the match at 2 Pokemon each. A 2-on-2 became a 1-on-1, but Wash Rotom couldn't finish it for Lucas. Incineroar lived and Kieran squeezed by. A lucky escape. Sinnoh everywhere we look. Dawn enters the arena. She had a tricky assignment against Bede in round 1. The snarky Galarian took the lead, but in came Dawn's cheeky BDSP pick. A Scarf Typhlosion with nothing but Eruption. And it's gone. Never mind. But it didn't matter in the end. Dawn wore Bede's team down without wasting Empoleon's steel resistance early. Bede came close, taking down all but Togekiss, but finally, Sinnoh has someone carry on. Hang on, is that Dawn again? No, that one's Akari. Past Dawn. I can see how you'd be confused. She's facing Penny, and don't make me say it. I don't want to say it. Fine. Her VV team. Yuck. Feel disgusting. Now, don't get me wrong. I love evolutions as much as the next almost 30-year-old man. A lot. But it can be really hard to build a good squad with nothing else, particularly if you've given them all Quick Attack and Baby Doll Eyes, even the special attackers. Penny lost, but she took down 4 with 6 quick attacking Baby Dolls. Battle number 14. The poisonous Clara faces Cheren, who gets his superior team from the original Unova games. Sadly for Clara, her mono poison squad was struggling from the get-go. She made Cheren work at times, but he always had an answer locked and loaded. The interesting early 2010s haircut storms into round 2. I loved the next battle. One of, if not the best rival from the Pokemon anime comes to play. It's Paul, and he faces Trace. If you know me, you know I love Trace. Losing. The cheap knockoff version of Blue was on the ropes from the start, and Paul trapped him several times, including activating Motor Drive, which made me chuckle. The Cantonian played alright. He brought Paul down to just 2. The trouble was his Jolteon had no answer to Gastrodon. Paul, our second wild card, moves on to face the winner of our final round 1 match between Shauna and Nimona. This'll be good. Actually, it turns out Shauna's team ain't half bad. She gets her Greninja team with a bit of filling from the anime. She has to face Nimona's updated Meowscarada team from the DLC. Let's see if it's as good as the original. Shauna surprised early and did something good. I should stop being mean to Shauna. She set up Sun, got the first KO requiring smart play from Nimona to take out Venusaur. Nimona quickly turned the tables and, as expected, took a comfortable win. Half the field is gone and at record speed. These 16 carry on to round 2. Some of these matches are to die for. Blue versus Silver, oh my. Paul versus Nimona sounds fun too, and Akari versus Cheren. Actually, yeah, that one's kind of underwhelming. Anyway, let's go with round 2. We pick up our first battle between Gladion and Sawyer partway in. The green-haired monster has the blondie's number early on, but Porygon Z comes up clutch again, taking out Sawyer's final 3 Pokemon to book the first spot in the quarterfinals. Not surprising, Gladion has done well on the channel before. Check him out here. Sawyer, you were valiant to the end, you did the anime proud. Next up, the blockbuster we've all been waiting for, Blue versus Silver. Blue started with a bad lead and Silver got an immediate read on the swap. Focus Blast even hit for once. For twice, actually. Then Silver managed to poison KO a Dragon Dance Gyarados to consolidate his lead. For the next few turns, Blue and Silver duked it out with good reads from both. Blue smartly picking a Gengar switch to KO the dangerous Weavile. In came Silver's Magneton, and a Thunder Wave into the swapped Machamp was the final read required. Muscles went down, Arcanine fell to recoil and Life Orb damage, and Silver's Alakazam lived the Zam v Zam battle for a tight Johto win. Silver will face Gladion in the quarters, Blue, the first major favourite to fall. But that's fine, he's won a tournament on my channel before, so he's already in the winner's bracket, the Waters bracket? I said nothing. Moving on, here we have Howl looking to be the second Alolan to reach the quarterfinals, but neglected Chef Child stands in his way. Arven started the stronger, getting good reads, putting Noivern to sleep and the first KO. But Howl fought back with this proportionally pleasing water friend and never let go of the lead. Alolan Raichu re-entered the fray and thanks to its hefty speed, got the final 2 KOs to send Howl to the quarters. This Alolan kid has taken out 2 of my favorites and is making me mad. In Battle 4, so you know when a match goes entirely wrong for you? Nothing at all seems to hit, you get burned and read like a book despite being such a pretty face. Well, now you know how N felt against Serena. Altaria picked the Zoroark Deception, Delphox burned Archeops, activating Defeatist, and it missed Stone Edge to boot. Jolteon got a Discharge Para on Kling Klang, Arcanine missed an Overheat, and Absol just kept getting crits. Some way, somehow, Serena carries on to the quarters, leaving the King of Plasma out in the cold. It's just upset City in round 2. Speaking of, Carmine has a history of pulling herself out of tough situations, and to win, she needed to pull out all the stops to take down Wally, one of the most successful trainers on this channel. First up, Wally traded his Talonflame for the tricky Mightyena, and then Carmine's Sinistcha missed a Matcha Gotcha to get 2 KO. A lucky freeze on Garchomp and a timely crit on Roserade wasn't enough for Carmine to mount a comeback. Wally won with 3 left in play, and neither Magnezone or Gallade even hit the field. This kid is going to be tough to beat. The biggest threat to Wally may very well be his next opponent. But first, Kieran needs to get past Dawn, and immediately he sets up Rain for Dragonite. Empoleon survives a Hurricane and a Thunder before landing the 4 times Ice Beam with multi-scale broken. Dawn maintained her early advantage, landing a Para to take the speed out from under Porygon Z. Incineroar looked threatening for Kieran, but Serene Grace Togekiss flinched its way to a KO. Suddenly, Kieran is on the ropes, down to just Grimmsnarl. Kieran had some good fortunes with Sucker Punch, which blunted Typhlosion's Eruption, giving the Blueberry champ some hope. Next, Blossom chose Poison instead of Violence, giving Grimmsnarl another KO, but now the match was timed out. With just 6% health left, Kieran's race was run. Lopunny even landed Confusion to rub some salt in the wound. A shock result, Kieran's certainly among the strongest trainers in the field, but BDSP, despite being a terrible remake, gave us some well-constructed competitive teams. Dawn moves on to face Wally in the quarterfinals. Akari versus Cheran was a competitive battle early on. They each traded 2 KOs to end up with Pikachu facing Liepard. But from here, Cheran took the advantage. Liepard beat the mouse, Superior took out the land turtle, and then one of the monkeys actually pulled some weight. Simipour got the final 2 KOs to send Akari back to Hisui. Yep, back in time, that's a powerful monkey. Cheran takes the 7th place in the quarterfinals and will face either Paul or Nimona. Paul started with Toxic Spikes but took a lot of damage and lost Aggron before it had any effect. It did help him take out Infernape. Now that would have been a nasty twist in the anime. But this was Paul's masterstroke, bluffing Nemona's Milotic, which surfed into a switched Gastrodon to activate Storm Drain. He then picked the switch into Meowscarada, landing a boosted Ice Beam for the knockout. Como came out swinging for Nemona, but poison chip damage did the job. Paul played this one smarter from start to finish. Nemona, as always, fought valiantly, but an anime wildcard will advance to the quarters. Down to our final 8 trainers, and it's not exactly the field I expected. Gladion will face Silver, Hau takes on Serena, Wally meets Dawn, and Cheran fights Paul. Out of these 8, I only picked Gladion, Wally, and Cheran to make it this far. Thinking Arven could win it all may have been a bit too hopeful. Oh well, a sandwich lover can dream. Our biggest surprise in the quarterfinals is definitely Serena. She rode good fortune in round 2 and may need more to make the semis. Silver, Dawn, and Paul are here after beating more favoured opponents. Will any of their runs continue? I'm going to shut up for a bit to let you enjoy the quarterfinals. Who will reach the final 4? Silver, How, Dawn, Sharon. What an eclectic Final Four. Well, we're guaranteed a new champion on the channel, that is for sure. Silver continued his run, wearing down Gladion in a battle full of strong reads. A crucial berry heal on Silver's Crobat boosted its acrobatics power, which put Giovanni's boy ahead. It still came down to the final turn, Weavile speed, letting Silver win out. Next, Silver will face How. I would never have guessed that this Alolan would get so far. But here we are, one step away from the final. How had the easiest quarterfinal win. Serena got the first KO, but then she faded. Serena might have made a bad call keeping Delphox in just to get KO'd by a Hydro Pump, but the result was probably beyond doubt anyway. Dawn played out of her mind in her quarterfinal. She hard-read pretty much everything that Wally threw at her. The Stone Edge miss from Wally's Garchomp may have swung the match. And then a head fake from Dawn forced a few switches, giving her Blossom, yep, you heard me right, Blossom, the chance to quiver dance to the win. Channel legend Wally falls in the quarterfinals, along with Paul, who threw everything he had at Sharon. But this time, the AI had learnt from its last Storm Drain temptation, Sharon outmaneuvering the purple-haired Paul for a final turn win. Silver and How, Dawn and Sharon. Who do you think makes the final from here? Tell me if you were right in the comments. Well, those semi-finals weren't even close, but at least the third playoff was, I guess. Silver emerged victorious against Howe in a wash, losing only Weavile and Crobat. Sure, Gengar only survived because of a sash, but Alakazam, Feraligatr, and Magneton weren't even needed. Dawn's path was a bit more treacherous, falling behind early. Scarf Typhlosion with Eruption proved to be the difference. It ignored a resistance from Haxorus for a 2 KO after a switch, and from there, Dawn played it safe to take the win. In the third playoff, Howe got some redemption, earning a well-deserved bronze medal, defeating Cheren in a tight battle. And now to the main event, the final of the Rival Rumble. It's Silver versus Dawn. Who would have thought? I don't mean that as an insult by any stretch. No, these teams are certainly strong and they proved it today, each overcoming more favoured opponents multiple times. Silver struck down Blue and Gladion, Dawn beat Kieran and Wally. Impressive. Whose run will end at the final hurdle and who will take the trophy? She did it! Dawn is our champion today. It wasn't an easy final battle. Silver's team hit hard and fast, taking out Togekiss, Bellossom and Empoleon in quick succession. Alakazam's speed blunted Dawn's Typhlosion, whose Scarf strategy proved limiting. Mamoswine withstood Weavile, and a swap into Lopunny proved to be Dawn's masterstroke. A Thunder Wave onto Gengar gave Mamoswine the speed advantage to Earthquake its way to victory. Now that's a strategy I've seen before. Dawn didn't make it very far in my prediction. What can I say? She has a good team, but I had her losing to Kieran in round 2. But it's always nice to have an underdog achieve some success. Did the results surprise you? Tell me in the comments. If you've made it this far, thanks so much for watching. While you're still here, hit that like button, subscribe, and remember the notification bell so you don't miss the next video. Our next tournament in a few weeks' time will pit region against region. Which of our beloved Pokemon lands will come out on top? I'm PokeDad. I'll see you next time.